All right, Kendall. Welcome back to another recording. It's been about a week, but we're in it. We're trying to. I think we're gonna try and get on this recording a little more frequently. I've got some stuff coming up, but maybe we can get a couple done today so we can kind of start getting ahead of it again.
Yeah, get on that grind.
Yeah, it's and I've been enjoying this.
As have I.
You mentioned last time that you had a top 10 anime list. I had to kind of cobble one together, but I'm pretty happy with it considering what I've watched recently and what I've seen in the past. Yours will probably be a little bit more extensive than mine. Mine kind of hits that kind of Toonami slash 4Kids era on TV kind of, but it's expanded a little bit past that. Not a lot, but a little bit.
Oh no, mine is sort of more of a top 9. Like, I'm not confident in my number 10 that would stay on if I watched something else that I really loved.
Okay. Maybe I'm thinking you've seen a lot more anime than, like, I think you have. Because I know, like, Isaac hits that anime like it's water.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm picky.
So I think you're a little bit more picky than I think you are, and it hits a point where you might have seen a few more, but maybe not enough to make a huge difference in our lists. But it'll be interesting. So you have essentially a top 9. Do you have any, like, kind of listed alternates?
I do have one honorable mention and one dishonorable mention.
If you got one of each, do you want to start with those? Or maybe let's hit with the dishonorable mention, I guess, because I've got one dishonorable mention.
My dishonorable mention is Bleach, which in middle school ruined anime for me.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of Bleach, and it was at the time where I didn't know if I liked anime or not, and some people were really into it. It was my friend Kevin. He was watching it, and I just didn't get it, you know? It was a random episode. I didn't understand what was going on, and I didn't really want to understand what was going on.
Yeah, Bleach has major problems, which a lot of people have dissected. You know, it was one of the big 3 with, it used to be of Shonen Jump. It used to be One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach. But
was Dragon Ball not part of that? Or was it kind of like Dragon Ball kind of hit its own...
Dragon Ball was
gone.
Dragon Ball was over by that point.
Gotcha.
Which is why they were the big 3.
Nice.
But Bleach fell off so much that I believe it got canceled.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so it or at least it ended prematurely.
So to hit this isn't going to change my top 10 at all. To hit my dishonorable mention, I'm going to explain my criteria a little bit. We kind of talked about how, like, Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, like, are essentially one anime because they were based off the same manga.
Yeah.
Naruto and Naruto Shippuden hit kind of that same criteria. But along the Dragon Ball train, I have Dragon Ball GT as a dishonorable mention.
Oh, wow.
And it's kind of weird to say, I just can't call it, like, a good or favorite anime. Because it's just so misguided. I feel like I think they wanted to do something really cool with it, and I don't know if it was the producers or who behind the scenes was just like, no, more Goku, no, make it like Dragon Ball, no, the adventure sucks, make it more like Dragon Ball Z, no, we don't need interesting villains, just bring back Android 17.
I've heard some apologists for GT in recent years. And
I don't think it's the worst thing ever. I couldn't by any definition put it, like, in my top 10, and I wanted to kind of explain why and why I think it's separate from Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. So to call it a dishonorable mention, it's more just like one I've seen and one that I don't like very much. I still own it on DVD and I'll still watch it, but for different reasons than, like, me thinking it's really good.
Yeah, certainly no Bleach, which is one of those things that has a lot of cool ideas, but it just meanders a lot, and like, just when you're about to give up, something really cool happens in, like, 20 episodes, and you're like, oh man, maybe it's finally gonna get to this quality again. And then another 20 episodes goes by, and he's like, yeah, that was just a moment, wasn't it? But then another moment happens. It's like, oh, man.
The anticipation, and finally there's a little bit of delivery, and you're hoping it's gonna keep going, but it just never quite gets back.
No.
So I've got a few honorable mentions. So do you want me to hit mine before you hit your one?
Sure, go for it.
Okay. So I'm going to start off with animes that aren't anime. Teen Titans is a cool American show that definitely is heavily anime inspired.
Oh, absolutely.
Avatar, The Last Airbender, and Legend of Korra are extremely anime based.
Yes.
And they are so high quality that if they were actually anime, I would probably put them pretty close to my top 3. Avatar might even be my number 1.
Yeah, I love Avatar. I have not seen Korra myself.
It's really good. It's just, like, it's different characters, and I hear a lot of people say on their first watch through they don't like it as much, which is fair. It's not quite as good, but it's kind of an expectations thing. You know, once you go in and kind of know what Legend of Korra is and what it's about and how these characters are working, it's a very high-quality show with one downer season, but, like, 2 really good seasons and like another like quality season. And even that downer season has like a 2-part story smack in the middle that deals with the first Avatar.
Yeah.
That's probably the best thing in the franchise.
Oh,
So
wow.
even that bad season, it has like really quality stuff in it.
Yeah, I also hear that it was plagued with some production issues due to Nickelodeon not wanting more than one season, and then it does really well, and they're like, okay, you can have another season over and over again.
And that was part of the reason why season 2 had problems, is because they kind of had to make it a sequel to season 1, but they also kind of had to retell some elements of season 1, so it became repetitive. It came you kind of go into some details that have already been done. So again, it's not really, even the second season isn't that bad. It just doesn't hold the quality of the rest of the franchise. Again, except for some key moments in there that still make it good. Like, I wouldn't say there's bad Avatar stuff out there that I've seen. Except for the M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, I was about to say.
But I don't consider that the same thing at this point. Going back to what I've got here for honorable mentions, my last one that's not anime technically is the Castlevania series on Netflix.
Yes, that's very good.
I was actually convinced that it was anime until I did some research, and it's American production, and there wasn't even a Japanese translation when I was looking for.
Oh, wow.
Just to like research. It was really strange. I was like, really? This not even a Japanese translation. But Castlevania, another like just really high quality, good animation, good action, good story, good characters. There's a few weird moments that I'm like, why did they include this? But you know, like, it's not perfect, but it's very, very well done.
Yes, and I absolutely love that moment in season 2 where they bring in Vampire Hunter, the song.
Yes, and
I have not seen past season 2 though myself.
Oh man, season 3 is good. Season 4 was really good. Season 3 is the point, like, when you're dealing with, like, Trevor and Sypha, is really good. There's some, like, side beats with Alucard that, like, there was no point to even have him in the show at that point. So it kind of drags and feels weird. But you kind of get some payoff for that bit in Season 4, so it's a little more acceptable on a rewatch. And I'm very excited. They have announced a Castlevania spin-off that'll follow Richter.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. I don't know anything else about it. I don't think they've really announced anything else about it, but it's coming, and I'm very excited for it. Now getting into my my anime honorable mentions that are actually anime. I'm going to start off with Naruto. I really love a lot of aspects of Naruto.
Yeah.
But it just drags out a little bit too much for me. Like when they're doing the Chunin exams, or the Junin exams?
Chunin, yeah.
Yeah. All that stuff is great. The fights are really good at that point. The action's really good. And everything before that is like solid anime setup. it starts to get after that I'm kind of dragging and kind of looking at my watch and kind of waiting for the next thing to come. And I know there's more coming, and there are so many fans of this series, including Shippuden, and now Boruto, which I know very little about, but I know it got its fans as well.
Yeah, I've started watching Boruto, and it feels like the best parts so far are just the parts where you see the old cast, which is a shame.
Yeah, and
except for Choji's daughter, she's great.
There's a lot of things out there like that. But again, I'm not saying anything wrong with Naruto. It's not quite for me.
Yeah.
And I've given it a fair shake. Like, getting through the Junin exams is a lot of episodes.
It might help to watch the fan edit.
It might, and maybe I'll give that a shot at some point. Because I've tried to watch Naruto, I think 3 different times now, and usually I get a little further each time.
Yeah.
So again, I usually enjoy like the really good parts, which keep me watching a little bit longer, but eventually I just kind of start to fall off.
Yeah.
And that's me with a lot of anime, unfortunately. And just with a lot of shows in general. Even if I'm enjoying the show, eventually I just kind of drop off for a while, and maybe I'll come back to it. My next honorable mention is Yu-Gi-Oh! GX.
Oh, I love GX.
It's a very, very fun show, and I've been kind of rewatching it to just kind of like feel it again.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because I've been kind of breaking out my Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks and playing a little bit. And if I'm watching a Yu-Gi-Oh! Series that's about the dueling, GX, from what I've seen, I haven't seen anything past GX, to be fair, but it seems to follow the rules a lot closer than at least what the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Does.
Yeah, I believe there's still some cards that don't do what they really do, but overall it's a lot better about it than the original series. And
there's still some like Deus Ex Machina cards that like this card doesn't even like exist kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, the climax of season 1 of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX is literally Banner puts in a card that can just make any card 3 times.
Yeah.
And then it unlocks its actual ability. So, like, Jaden didn't even, like, win the duel of his own accord. He just picked the cards he wanted, and that's how he won.
I forgot about that. It's been a few years since I watched, but I did watch a bunch of it a few years back, going back up to, like, the Society of Light, but not finishing it.
At one point I finished that season 2 arc, the Society of Light, and like I like Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. It's a fun series, but I couldn't quite put it in my top 10.
Yeah, same here. I absolutely
but it's bright,
love.
It's colorful, it's fun.
Yeah, I absolutely love the Chaz and GX. And GX,
Chaz it up, Chaz it up,
Yeah, the Chaz is definitely my favorite character. I refuse to call him Chaz. He is the Chaz. Thank you very much.
Chaz. Yep.
And it also has one of my favorite 4Kids moments where during some duel, Jaden pulls some big brain play, and the guy he's dueling has the typical anime reaction of "What? How?" And Jaden just loses all 4Kidsness to his voice and just says, "Well, that's what it says on the card."
Yeah, I think that happens pretty early, too.
Yeah.
I do, yeah, I very much enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. I can understand how people could find Jaden annoying and a lot of the characters annoying, so it's not a series for everybody. But if you've got a good sense of humor and like Yu-Gi-Oh!, I would definitely recommend giving Yu-Gi-Oh! GX a shot.
Well, maybe Yu-Gi-Oh! Will show up later in some of our lists.
It's very possible. My next honorable mention, and the only reason it's in an honorable mention and not higher, is because I'm currently watching through it, and I'm only on like partway through episode 4. So if I watched more of it, it would definitely be higher. I just like can't justify putting it higher because I don't know how the rest of it goes. Cowboy Bebop.
Oh,
I have very much been enjoying this so far, and I've just started literally today.
Yeah, I couldn't really get into Cowboy Bebop myself. Maybe it's just not my kind of series.
Maybe not. I'm actually kind of surprised because it's got that kind of like, I don't know. Like, I know you like Trigun, and I don't know much about that, but it seems like it's got a little bit of a vibe going on there.
Yeah, they're definitely the same era.
Yep. It's got kind of the cool cyberpunk spaceships. I feel this seems like a series Isaac would love. But yeah, I've been very much enjoying it. I will put a little note in here that I tend to watch anime dubbed just because I like to kind of do other stuff while I'm watching stuff.
Yeah.
Steve Blum is the voice of Spike in the anime, or in the English dub, and he has such a charisma to his character in this.
Yeah.
It's very fun to watch it.
Yeah, Cowboy Bebop is one of those that even the old school sub purists will be like, yeah, the dub is better.
Well, I'm glad it's not just me on that one. Granted, I haven't watched the sub of it, but again, I'm 4 episodes in, I'm really enjoying it, and I feel like it would probably make it on my top 10 if I was more than 4 episodes in.
Yeah, I feel like the big trio of like older anime that have really, really strong dubs are Cowboy Bebop, Trigun, and Yu Yu Hakusho.
Oh, yeah. I really love Yu Yu Hakusho as well. It might make an appearance later.
Oh, wow, really? You don't say.
Yeah, believe it or not, of all the animes I've watched. My next honorable mention is Pokemon.
Wow, you got a lot of these.
I have one more after this.
Oh, wow.
So Pokemon, it's been going on forever.
It has.
So I'm really just going through, like, the Orange Island League. A lot of the very early Pokemon stuff had, like, very strong ties to the video games, which are fun little references. Like, the very first episode, Ash is watching TV, and it's a Gengar versus a Nidorino at the Pokemon League.
Yeah.
Which is a straight callback. You hear a lot of sound effects from the game. The title screen looks like a Game Boy screen in color, essentially. Again, not a super strong anime, but, you know, it just has those nostalgic ties that I still go back and watch some episodes every now and then.
Absolutely. And, of course, everyone can sing that theme song.
Truly. And it had some bangers for American theme songs for a while. I knew them all through Johto. After that, I kind of fell off Pokemon.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a fun one. And my last honorable mention, again, kind of a caveat that doesn't affect my list in the end, Dragon Ball Super. It has really strong action, and when it's like Dragon Ball Z, I feel like it's at its strongest. When it tries to be Dragon Ball, I feel like it weakens a little bit, because the characters have just kind of grown past that kind of humor in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And my biggest weakness that you and I have talked about a little bit is Goku's character is inconsistent.
Yeah, to say the least.
To the point where he basically is the villain of the last arc.
Yeah. But I'm sure we'll
Even though you're still... Yeah.
But I'm sure we'll come back to Super at some future recording.
Definitely. So we'll cut that one there. What's your honorable mention?
Well, Bleach is the thing that ruined anime for me, and Fist of the North Star is the thing that saved it for me.
Fist of the North Star is only an honorable mention for you.
Yes, I have too many problems with it now to really consider it part of my top 10. Part of it is that it was from Japan in the 70s and 80s, and so the sexism is out of control.
Fair. I've never seen it. I've only seen, like, clips that you've shown me, and I've seen the theme song more times than I can count at this point. But,
yeah, it's really fun. I like it a lot more than the manga. The manga is very brutal, but the anime censors a lot of it, and which a lot of people are about, but I prefer the censored version, honestly.
That's fair.
For some of the kills, it actually makes it more brutal. Like, there's one guy who gets, like, ripped in half. But the anime, of course, it can only do it in silhouette, but it's, like, slowed down, and you see him, like, liquefy, and so it just leaves it to your imagination what is happening, sort of, and it's just way more horrifying than the manga.
That's fair. Yeah, that's pretty rough.
Also, the anime has Kenshiro punching a tank until it explodes.
Is that not in the manga?
It is not.
Beautiful. Sometimes anime has little additions that, like... I know there are some people who are, like, manga purists, but anime can definitely step up moments that might just be, like, 1 or 2 panels.
Yeah, not all filler. Not all filler is bad filler.
True. Everybody loves Goku and Piccolo driving cars.
Indeed.
That's some classic filler right there. So are we into our top 10s now?
I believe we're into our top 10s now.
Okay, do you want to start or should I start?
I can start.
Okay.
My number 10 is a comedy series called Nichijou, which translates to everyday life.
I've heard of it.
Yes, it's about 3 middle school girls, I believe, who get into these crazy adventures, see some wacky stuff, and it's pretty good. You know, I've never finished it, honestly. It's the jokes get a little old by the time you're getting to like the 20s in the episodes.
That's fair. It's kind of like watching some sitcoms. Like, it might have a strong first season, so you follow it for like the next 2. But by the time season 4 and 5 are rolling around, you're kind of like, yeah, I'm kind of done with this.
Yeah. So yeah, I've never finished it, but what I have seen is generally very funny. The animation is absolutely beautiful, which is usually used for comedic effect. You know, like this middle school girl doing an incredibly well animated suplex, or this scene where one of the girls finds the other's gay porn and steals it and starts running away, and the chase is animated incredibly well and treated like the most dire thing in the universe.
My number... I'm going to swap these two based on what I'm feeling right now. So my number 9 is now going to be my number 10, Cardcaptor Sakura.
Mm-hmm.
I think it falls kind of under that like Magic Girl style of anime.
I believe started by Sailor Moon, or at least popularized by.
Yeah. But Cardcaptor Sakura is very fun. It's kind of styled as like just kind of a slice of life anime. You get to know Sakura and her family, her cousin, but she finds this like deck of cards in her dad's like basement or library, something like that.
Yeah.
And they all fly open and basically lets loose the monsters within them. So she has one left, and she's learning how to use it to recapture the other monsters, while still kind of like maintaining her like school life. And there's kind of a anime thing here where it's played as cute, and so I don't have too much of a problem with it, because younger girls will often have like crushes on older boys, and the feelings don't seem to be reciprocated, so it's not too creepy. It's just kind of a crush thing.
Yeah.
But what I like about it is she ends up having kind of a rival who is also hunting down these cards. The boy also ends up liking the same boy that Sakura likes, and it's not played for laughs. It's not played for like scandal or anything. It's just played like a boy has a crush too.
Yeah.
And I like that. It's a nice little aspect of the show that they just kind of include, and it is just kind of there, and that's all it needs to be, is there. But the action is creative. It's not like high quality fighting or anything, but they use cards in creative ways. It feels like a mix between a little bit of like Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, and probably kind of a little bit of Sailor Moon in there as well.
Yeah.
And I definitely just enjoyed the creativity of the monsters and the plots they were using for it. I have not seen all of it. I've probably only seen about 30 episodes of it, but I watched a fair amount of it and was enjoying it. It was just kind of one of those things I fell off and haven't gotten back to yet. Your number 9, sir?
My number 9, which, I may trade it with number 8. In fact, I think I will. My number 9 is Space Battleship Yamato, which is a 70s anime.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really old, but the artwork is really pretty when they do the matte paintings and all that.
Right. And
it's really cool. It's about this... it's a sort of like Star Trek, but from Japan's perspective. And like since it's like the 60s or 70s, then, the atomic bomb is still kind of fresh in their minds. So it's very dark rather than Star Trek's very hopefulness.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, Earth has been bombarded by an alien force until it's basically unlivable anymore. And within the year, it's going to be completely unlivable, and all of humanity is going to die. But they get a message from Fina from from an alien, because Skies of Arcadia was very heavily inspired by this series, and so she pretty much just looks like Fina.
Gotcha.
That on the other side of the galaxy there is a way to reverse what has been done. So they take this old World War II battleship called the Yamato, which like I think was used in like one battle and was instantly sunk. And they turn it into a spaceship to fly across the galaxy in 1 year in order to save the Earth. And
that sounds like a ill omen, flying a ship that got instantly sunk.
Yeah, the way they portray it is that it's like sort of an avatar against imperialism. So like because Japan was trying to build an empire at the time, it failed, but because now it's trying to stop an empire, it's going to succeed.
I see. That's cool.
Yeah, so it's definitely got its ties to World War II, which is very interesting. And the way that the bombardment is portrayed is definitely atomic bomb-ish. So yeah, it's a very interesting, different perspective, since we're American and all. Yes. And back in the 70s, it was adapted to a show called Star Blazers after Star Wars was really popular. And
I've heard of Star Blazers, yeah.
Yeah, I was introduced to the series by my dad, and they very much changed a lot of it because, of course, they did back in the 70s. So it's like a multinational crew. And the ship is called the Argo. But
I didn't realize that was the same, like based on the same thing.
Yeah, and of course they censored all the death and everything because there's a lot of death in Space Battleship Yamato.
Fair.
Yeah, the series has some problems towards the end, I think. Like, it takes some strange moral stances. Like, there's one episode where they're running out of food and they go to this planet that is nothing but jungle with all these huge fruits and vegetables. And they're like, we can't take anything from here. We'll disrupt the environment. And it's like, those fruits are so big and the entire planet is a jungle. I think they're going to be okay without a few fruits.
Right. You probably even take a tree or two.
Yeah, probably.
I see what they're getting at, but yeah, you kind of start to question, like, would it though? Would it ruin it?
Yeah. Oh, and of course on the ship they also attached a front-facing giant laser cannon, which is really cool. And it's got old anime pacing, which I absolutely love. So like the first time they fire the wave motion gun, which is basically the Moonstone cannon from Skies of Arcadia.
Right.
It takes like 5 minutes to charge up and fire, and I love every minute of it. And they do some really cool stuff with it, like they're flying through a sun and they use the wave motion gun to blow a hole in the corona to try and fly through it safely. Like, it doesn't make any sense, but it's cool.
I was going to say science.
But anyways, what's your number 9?
My number 9 is classic Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh, wow. Pretty high up. Or low down, I guess.
So, it would probably be higher if classic Yu-Gi-Oh! Stopped after Battle City. But there is a lot of really bad filler in Yu-Gi-Oh! Which has a sense of humor to it. Like, if you're watching it for particular reasons, then it's still fun. But even then, it starts to kind of drag. But, like, the Duelist Kingdom saga is so fun to watch. It makes it, if you're a fan of the card game, it makes no sense, and it's really fun to just like point out, like, that's not what that card does. That's not how that works. I was watching with Cassie, and we made it basically to Pegasus, and there are so many moments I'm just looking at this like, that literally doesn't make sense, guys. But it also comes from the point in the manga where the card game was not well established.
Yeah.
Because the Duel Monsters starts off as like Magic and Wizards, I think is what it's originally called. The logo's an M and a W. And it's... Or Monsters and Wizards. Sorry. Monsters and Wizards, not Magic and Wizards. And originally there's just like no rules, which is exactly how the first few duels start. Like Yu-Gi-Oh! Yugi versus Kaiba is just a cluster. It's just a bunch of cards being thrown down with no reason. But I love it. And it has such a good... for kids dub, which adds a sense of humor to it, which it's probably not that different in the Japanese version as well, but you gotta love the voices that provide, like Kaiba, Pegasus, and it's just such a lighthearted romp. Again, it would be higher on my list if it weren't for the later filler sagas. But I think it does have a pretty good ending.
I've actually been considering rewatching it, but I can't decide if I want to do sub or dub, because honestly, the biggest thing for me is Kaiba. I love Kaiba's dub voice so much.
Yes. Have you seen the new movie that came out not too long ago? I think it was like last year or the year before.
I have not.
Kendall, find it and watch it. I loved every second of that movie. Some of it ironically, some of it just full on, like, it's everything you want out of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's got really good duels in it that you can follow along with. And Kaiba is full blast Kaiba in that movie.
Oh, I love
it. I feel bad spoiling some of this, but like it's gonna be probably a while before you see it. Mm-hmm. So there's just one point in the movie. Are you familiar with the end of Yu-Gi-Oh? Like where Yugi and Tem have to like duel each other. To like set the spirit free.
I'm vaguely aware.
Okay, so this takes place after that. So Yugi and Atem are no longer connected.
Okay.
But Kaiba is still obsessed with dueling the Pharaoh. He has to beat him. So at one point, there's like big problems going on. Yugi is running through the streets, and the city just goes dark, and then all like the headlights of cars flash around, and Kaiba is standing in the middle of the street like freaking Batman. Just standing there, looking at Yugi. He's like, "Where are you going, Yugi?" He's like, I have to solve the problem, Kaiba." He's like, "No, come to the stadium and bring the Pharaoh."
Oh, that reminds me of in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, that one Kaiba moment when the flashback when Jaden's a kid and he's making Elemental Hero Neos. And Kaiba's like, "We're gonna send cards into space. I figure if there is intelligent life out there, let's teach them how to duel." Then he does a big evil laugh.
Yeah. And there's more of that in this movie, Kendall. He invents time travel from a satellite shaped like his Kaiba Corp logo. And you know what he does to, like, when he does time travel, you know what it's used for? He didn't test it first. He has to go back to Japan, or to Egypt, to face the Pharaoh.
Of course.
He doesn't, there's been no human testing. Mokuba's begging him, "Please, don't go. We have to test this." And he's like, "Goodbye, Mokuba." And he goes back in time. I don't know how he's going to get back, but he's facing the Pharaoh in the past. And it just ends there with the Pharaoh smiling at him. I explained this to Cassie, and I was crying laughing because it was everything I wanted in life.
You gotta love Kaiba. He's like the Chaz of the original Yu-Gi-Oh!
As much as I love Chaz, Kaiba has so many moments that... The Chaz, sorry. As much as I love the Chaz, Kaiba has so many moments that just outclass. Like, I would say there's a more consistent through line for the Chaz, but the peaks of Kaiba are so out there. Like, I could just go on a tangent just, like, talking about Yu-Gi-Oh!, especially that movie, for the rest of the recording, so... Yeah, but anyway, Yu-Gi-Oh! It's fun. I like it.
What was the Kaiba line that became a meme recently? You're just a third-rate duelist with a fourth-rate deck, or something like that?
Yes. And there's... Oh, God, Kendall, you have to see the movie, because he literally, like, summons a Blue Eyes White Dragon or something like that, and Yugi summons, like, fruit magicians. He's like, "You bring me fruit?"
I also want to point out that Pegasus in the Japanese dub, they actually went out of their way to give him, like, an American accent. And so I believe his thing of calling Yugi Yugi Boy is actually just a direct translation, where instead of calling him Yugi-kun, he calls him, like, Yugi Boy.
Interesting.
And I've also seen a compilation of him saying the word des, and it sounds very funny.
Also, fun fact, anything in the anime that has Pegasus after Duelist Kingdom is filler or made up, because in the manga, Pegasus dies.
Oh, wow.
Bakura kills Pegasus. Like, you remember, like, where they have, like, that, like, laser beam fight when Bakura takes the Millennium Eye?
Yeah.
Yeah, he actually just rips it out of Pegasus's face, and he's dead.
Wow.
Yeah! The manga's pretty dark, especially in the earlier chapters.
It is. I have a friend who is really into Yu-Gi-Oh! And, maybe this will come back again later. Who knows?
I would love to discuss the early Yu-Gi-Oh! Versus, like, manga at some point, because I loved reading the manga, and there's several chapters that aren't even translated into the anime.
Yeah.
The, like, Season 0 stuff. Good stuff. Anyway, what's your number 8?
My number 8 is Trigun.
Ooh.
Yeah, Trigun is very good. It's, like I said, is one of those dubs that is just exceptionally good. I don't know how much you know about Trigun, but basically it's about this guy who's an incredibly good gunslinger who is also a pacifist on this alien world with this really interesting technology. And it's only 26 episodes, and it's really good. I hear the manga goes to some weird places, though.
I've seen elements of Trigun. It's one that's kind of... I'm trying to basically find some shorter animes to watch to kind of boost my boost my list, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, I've got Death Note on my to-watch list. Cowboy Bebop, that's part of the reason I watched that. It's because it's only 26 episodes or something like that.
Yeah.
Trigun will probably be on my list as well at some point.
Yeah, I absolutely recommend it. Johnny Young Bosch is Vash the Stampede in it, and he is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say, but I really hope that they bring Johnny Young Bosch back for the new Trigun thing that they're doing, which I still do not know what it is. I don't know if it's like a movie or a new series or what.
Mm-hmm. I think, has there been like a couple Trigun series?
There was like a movie or something called Badlands Rumble, I think.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it like adapted more of the manga or what. I'm not sure. I've only seen the original anime.
Right, because every once in a while I try to look up Trigun, and I feel like 3 or 4 things pop up, and I'm always kind of confused.
Yeah, just the original anime is just called Trigun, so.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out for that then.
What's
Next
your number
on my
7?
List, actually, I think it's my number 8.
Oh, right, you're number 8, because I went first.
Yes. Digimon. Particularly seasons 1 through 4. I haven't seen anything past that. But a lot of people think Digimon is just kind of a ripoff of Pokemon, and I could definitely see how it could be interpreted that way. But I really like the characters in Digimon. It kind of falls into like a 4Kids kind of thing, with the humor. But I don't think it was 4Kids. I think there was like Fox Animation dubs or something like that for a little while. But I really like the the only thing I don't really like about early Digimon is how much reused animation they used, because it was very low budget.
Cursory Google glance says that it. I don't think that it was 4Kids.
Right. I think it was like Deke.
Oh,
right.
DIC.
Yeah. But I always, especially seasons 1 and 2, I really loved rewatching. Season 3, the Digimon Tamers season, is widely considered to be the best one, and it's also the darkest, so it's got a more consistent tone and story through the whole thing. And I think part of that is because there's less characters. That's another thing I like about Digimon, is it's kind of falls into, not to compare it to JoJo, but you can do some different power scaling again.
Yeah.
Because you get new characters every season, so you can do different things. Season 4, I really liked when I was younger, but I've liked it less over time. It's where they like become the Digimon.
Yeah, that's weird.
It is weird, but at least they tried something new, and it's not all bad. At that point, the pacing of the show had kind of fallen off as well. I think they wanted to do something more like the first 2 seasons, especially the first season going back to the digital world, like, and being stranded there.
Yeah. I never watched Digimon myself. I knew the theme song, but I always thought it was kind of dumb.
Oh, the theme song is pretty bad, but I liked it as a kid. Just the Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon are the champions. And that's most of the song. But then it gets into change into digital champions to save the digital world.
Yeah.
And that's fun to listen to. So it's definitely not there's a reason it didn't make my top 10 anime themes, not just because it's also an American theme, but yeah, really, if like the key to Digimon is not the fights, it is definitely the characters. They have so many personal and interpersonal connections and problems that are very relatable that they just happen to have fallen into a world that has monsters and need to get home. I just have always liked it, and even as I've gotten older, I've liked it. There are some childish things in there, but those are usually pretty easy to get past.
Yeah.
Especially once like the actual stories kick in. Other than that, there's not much more I have to say about it. I just like it.